For the Lesson 8 problem set, we are going to use those rounding skills once again, but I told you we wouldn't always be rounding to the 1,000th place. And in our problem set, you can see that we're actually going to be rounding to different place values. All right, so let's look at number 1. It says 53,000 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is. Well, in this case, I would be going to my 10,000s and circling here. Now I know if it's 53,000, rounding down would be 50,000. The next 10,000 up would be 60,000, which means in the middle would be 55,000. When looking here, it's 53,000. We know 53 comes below 55,000, so it would round down to 50,000. Let's jump over to this problem. In this case, we're actually rounding to the 100,000s. Dun, dun, dun. No, actually, it's pretty easy. We're going to underline the 100,000s. We're going to circle the 10,000s, and the 10,000s is going to tell us what we're going to do. Now, if I look at that 100,000s, I know it's 400,000s is what I would round down to. The next 100,000s up would just be 500,000, which tells me that in the middle would be 450,000. When I look at this 4, I know that would be 449,000. It would be below that 450,000, which means I would round my overall number down to 400,000. All right, for this one, for C, let's come back to the 10,000s. I have a 0 in the 10,000s. I have a 6 in the 1,000s. But I know that even if I were to round down, even if it's a 0, we still have a 4 here, so it would be 400,000s. The rounding up would put this at not 500, but 410,000, because again, we're rounding to the 10,000s place, which means right in the middle would be 405,000. When I look at the 6, I know it is above this 405,000, so we would round all the way up to 410,000. Moving on to the other side, we'll look at this word problem, and it is the same type problem, just it has some context or some words as a word problem. So it says 975,462 songs were downloaded in one day. Wow. Round this number to the nearest 100,000 to estimate how many songs were downloaded in one day. Use a number line to show your work. So I'm going to create that vertical number line. We know we are rounding to the 100,000s place, which means this rounded down would be 900,000. Rounded up would be 10,000,000. That sounds weird to me. Hopefully that sounds weird to you. We would carry that 10,000,000s into the 1 millions place, which means halfway in the middle would be 950,000. When I look and I am rounding to the 100,000, so I'm underlining a 9, I'm looking at that 7. We know that 7 is above the 5, which means I would round up to 1 million. Based off the question, I have to include a label, and this label would be 1 million songs. And I'm going to do that approximate, downloaded in one day. That's a lot of songs to be downloaded. The rest of the problems here will kind of take your information and use that same skills of rounding. I think this is a really cool problem. You're going to take this number, and in A, you're going to round those both to 10,000s and subtract. And in this problem, you're going to take those same two numbers, round them to the 100,000s place, and subtract to see if there's a difference or a similarity when you round to the different place values. But we're also going to move over to our exit ticket and run through this fairly quickly. In our 1, A and B, it asks us to go to the 10,000s place. So I'm going to underline this. I know it's going to go possibly down to 30,000. The next up 10,000 would be 40,000, which means halfway in the between would be 35,000. I know that this says 35,124, which is slightly above. We would round up to 40,000. In this problem, I'm still sticking with 10,000. So I'm going to underline this 8 and circle the 1. If I round down, this would be that 9, 8, and the rest of the place values would be zeros. If I round it up to the 10,000s, this 8 would go up to 9, so 990,000. Halfway in between, 985,000. We know that since this is a 1, it comes quite far down on that vertical place value line, meaning we would round down to 980,000. In 2, you'll notice now we're rounding to the 100,000s place value. All right. Well, this seems weird. There's not a current 100,000. So I'm going to draw one in there, and it's going to be a 0 because it doesn't harm us. It's just a place saver. So if I were to round down or up, it would stay at, you ready for this? 0 100,000s. That's weird. Maybe I should write all those zeros out. Still equals 0. If I were to round up, this would go from 0 to 100,000, which means halfway in between would be 50,000. We know that 89 comes above 50, which means we round up to 100,000. All right, in this one, again, we're rounding to 100,000s. So we know if this rounded down, this would be 900,000. If I round up, again, it would be that 10 100,000s, or in this case, it would round up to 1 million. We know that when looking here, we would round up. We'd be right here and would round up to 1 million. Again, you're going to go through the process of underlining the place value that it's asking you to round to, circling the next smaller place value because that's going to tell you whether you're rounding up or down. Estimate the sum by rounding each number to the nearest 100,000s. In this case, I'm going to do this a little bit fast. This 2 would underline, and I'd circle the 5. I know that rounds up, so this would be 300,000. And hopefully you've solved this problem already. Underlining the 5, circling the 4. Uh-oh, the 4 is below 5, so it would round down to 500,000. So the approximate answer when adding these together, 3 plus 5 is 8. 800,000.